What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jimmy James 59, and we just had a update to Age of Empires 2 DE. I'm going to cover it, and I'm in particular going to cover something in this update that I think even when the public update preview came out a month or so ago, I don't think got enough attention. And you can probably tell from the thumbnail of this video that it's got to do with cav archers, and we'll be talking a bit about that as I go on. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and we'll try and hit the highlights here before I jump back into the game and talk about some of the balance changes. In particular, really one balance change. So we have a new Return of Rome event that's pretty cool. One of the things I love that the developers are doing, I love these profile icons. They're so cool. All of these are really neat. I think it's cool to be able to grab these things. That's pretty neat. I think this golden centurion statue, yeah, like the art behind this is really awesome. There's some interesting stuff you can replace. Let me see. Unlock a graphical mod where the crossbowmen become stealth archers, like composite bowmen. Ooh, I always like the composite bowman sprite, actually. So that's something I might try to definitely do. The Zug 209, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, anyway, it's all pretty good. Unlocks a graphical mod where lightning effect strikes any converted unit. Oh my gosh, no, I'm definitely not using that one. I'll be too scared. All right, getting into some game issues, some audio issues that were fixed. If you haven't been in the game, right, some of the fonts look a little different now, which is fine. Multiple buildings, settings, hotkeys, multiplayer. Okay. Pretty interesting. So the random civilization option now temporarily excludes the last 3 used civilizations from the randomization pool. So now I guess it's kind of like a pseudo random. That's not bad. It's whatever. I don't think that matters too much. Some Xbox stuff, some gameplay. All animals will now. Okay, I think these are Return of Rome, so don't worry. Your scouts are not going to get attacked by animals in Age of Empires 2. Fix an issue where villagers could become idle. Some cheat code stuff. Some Return of Rome. Oh, wow. Look at this one. This one is huge. Fix an issue where units stop for a moment before reaching their target. If you have patrolled into a fight recently, by recently, I mean over the last couple of months, you would have noticed this. This has been extremely, extremely annoying. And if it has fixed what I think it has fixed, this is awesome, right? Where you would patrol, and it's like your units would sit around and contemplate whether or not the last order given was a lawful one, and boom, there they go. So that's really cool. That's a major fix. I know there's issues with pathings, but honestly, I think that was even more annoying than the pathing issues. Anyways, we've had some campaigns, balance changes. Okay, let's talk about some of these balance changes. Siege Armored Elephant cost is reduced. Okay. All right. Here's one. We're going to dive into this one at the end of this video, so definitely stay tuned. Heavy Cavalry Archer base accuracy increased from 50% to 80%, right? This is essentially a buff to Khmer. Just calling it how it is, folks. I think that maybe some other civilizations might play cav archers, but I actually don't think it's going to affect them that much. Khmer, on the other hand, this is a huge buff because the only upgrade on cavalry archers that Khmer are missing is Thumb Ring. And this is helping you out drastically with your accuracy. We're going to see what that looks like at the end of this video, so definitely stick around. Siege Onager bonus attack versus heavy siege. Outside Western Wagon and Ballista Elephants just reduced. Okay. So Onagers aren't going to be doing as much there. And villagers gain bonus attack versus that heavy siege armor class. So this gets pretty interesting. I wonder if villagers, are they going to be kind of a mass villagers, maybe a counter to Hussite wagons? I don't know. I doubt they'd be able to close the distance with ballista elephants. Maybe Hussite wagons? Or it depends. You can keep looking at the Hussite wagons, right? They've had their HP reduced, they've had their attack reduced. But the secondary projectiles are doing more damage. And you are getting more of them. and they're all firing at the same time. So I could see this having a pretty interesting impact here. Hussite Wagons might be a unit that is back on the menu. Franks, the castle discount bonus actually wound up getting changed from 25% total to 15 to 25% in castle and imperial age respectively. I really don't like this change. It's not that I'm against staggered bonuses, but it just kind of feels to me like it just overlaps too much with the Inca stone cost bonus, or like in Castle Age, you have the same cost of castles, and in Imperial Age, you know, you're kind of just back to where you were. Yeah, I don't know. I think they could do something a bit more creative here. This just looks weird. I mean, I think it's obviously a nerf to Franks, and castle drops on Arena with Franks are not going to be nearly as scary, and I think that's a major issue for players that are at kind of a beginner to intermediate level on maps like Arena, or may just closed maps in general. So I think this was going to actually have kind of an effect on for players maybe at a lower level, maybe not players at a higher level that are just a bit better at defending castle drops and that kind of thing, though it'll probably still impact there too, but this will definitely be a sizable change. Romans, the Centurion HP is decreased. I mean, I think that's fine. I think the Centurion as a unit is just kind of a unit with an identity crisis. I think it's... A Centurion is ideally supposed to be kind of a commander unit, so it should be durable. But it should be a unit that's kind of like telling others to fight, not so much of a fighter itself. And I think that's kind of my issue with it. I might do a video on that and think about that a bit more in depth. Okay, Sicilians. The elite sergeant cost was reduced from 60 food to 35 gold to 50 food and 35 gold. That's not bad, but I think an abundance of food is not the problem for Sicilians. You get so much food on your farms that, I mean, this will affect things, right? Because I mean, it's not like you're really collecting food faster with the Sicilians. You just have more. Your food's not depleting as much, so this is still gonna have an impact, I think. Especially if maybe you're trying to play sergeants earlier in a game before you really get your economy rolling. But I don't know. This bonus seems okay. I think it'd be a much bigger deal if it went from like 35 to 30 gold. That I think could have a lot more of an impact. But I don't really see this changing how we tend to see Sicilians played. But hey, you know, saving 10 food's not bad. I think it just makes it a bit less obvious when you should go for Sicilian champions that also get gambizons versus sergeants. Like that. I guess that's my only. Now that there's so much, now they're even closer in cost. I don't know. Return of Rome. A lot of changes for Return of Rome. You can fixate on those. Some AI changes. It's like playing against the AI. Pathfinding. No major changes here. It doesn't look like, but maybe there will be some units not responding to commands. I've definitely had that happen in a couple games, actually. I had a game pretty recently where, yeah, my units didn't respond to a command, and it wound up being pretty badly. So, not good. Modding. Okay. Scenario editor. Ongoing. Okay. Let's talk about crashes. All right, submit info right if you get crash. Pathfinding. Quick update. We're testing and polishing a new short Pathfinder, which will replace the legacy code. It'll affect paths under 20 tiles long and is currently only active in single player mode. We're happy to hear your feedback. This is interesting. I haven't really messed around with this, but I think it's great that they're doing this. Pathing's been such an issue, and the fact that it sounds like they're kind of going above and beyond and doing something completely new to fix things, I think is pretty cool. All right, what's on the horizon coming up? Don't think we've forgotten about the elephant in the room. Oh yeah, if you garrison elephants in transport ships, right, they show up graphically, which is pretty neat. I learned that recently. I think Spirit of the Log mentioned that in the video. I can't remember. Don't think we forgot about the elephant in the room. We'll have more news to share about our Persian rework soon. Yeah, I'm going to do a whole video on this, I think. But I think that this whole idea of a Persian's rework honestly, it would not surprise me if this is the basis for a new DLC. I think if this were, and I could talk about this more in another video, but basically, right, if you're gonna chill with your boy Jim Stradamus here, look, you know, like if they were just like, you know, gonna modify the Persians around the edges or just do balance changes, I think they just go ahead and do them, right? And this is not the first time they've made this announcement about this elephant in the room. They're just building it up so much that I think it's obvious that they're hyping something. And why would you hype something? Probably if you want to sell something. And you sell DLCs. You know what I mean? Like, just like, you know, I know I am, one of the world's greatest detectives, somewhere between like Batman and Columbo. But, you know, you don't have to be as good as me to be able to figure this out. So, anyways. And that's it, right? So that's the balance packs, right? So let's go ahead. We're going to transition here into the scenario editor. All right, so we are in the scenario editor. Going to run a couple tests. I want to run essentially a test between Khmer Heavy CA versus Hindustani Heavy CA. The difference between these two units is that Khmer are only lacking Thumb Ring, and Hindustanis are only lacking Parthian Tactics. We're going to take a look at how that works out. So let's go ahead and run this test here, right? You can see, right, we've got them at close range. Our Khmer player, right, has all the armor upgrades. It looks, if you didn't know better, that they would be fully upgraded, but they are missing Thumb Ring. That's just not captured. We have our Hindustanis are going to be missing that 2 Pierce Armor and 1 Melee Armor, though it's really the Pierce Armor that's having a big impact in this battle. And as you can see, right, especially as the numbers start to thin out, this armor really comes back to help the Khmer, and the Khmer Heavy CA are winning this pretty soundly, with probably going to have about 3 units left over that are mostly full HP. This is about the average that I've got when I've run this simulation. These close range fights, Khmer Heavy CA tend to win with about 3 units left. This is a 20 on 20 fight, so that's about 15% HP. Now, fights in Age of Empires 2 tend to snowball pretty quickly, and I would say that, and I've run the simulation a number of times, Khmer always win. So I would say that Khmer Heavy CA at this point are slightly better than Hindustani CA, right, that are only missing that Parthian Tactics. So we could go ahead and take another look here, and we want to take a look at how this looks at range, right? Because this was close range, and that means that the accuracy is going to be pretty good, right? It's kind of a best case test, you might think, for Khmer CA. So we want to go ahead and take a look at this from a bit longer range and see how that pans out. We'll do that here in a sec. Okay, so now we're going to test this at range, having 2 units patrol into one another, right? We have our Khmer at the top, we have Hindustanis here at the bottom, right? And again, we can see, right, the units are thinning out. It's a fight that looks pretty even. However, as the Hindustani CA die off, right, these Khmer CA, because they're so tanky, are thinned out a lot less quickly, right? And so we can take a look, and it's a pretty even fight here for both. We can see, though, that you can just kind of tell from looking at it that the numbers are going to work out to be pretty much the same, right? Where it's about, you know, it's about, I'll say 3.5 to 4, right? Khmer Heavy CA that are left over, right? And so, again, now you might think, right, at that longer range, that's where that lower base accuracy would really be killing the Khmer, right? You know, you would think that, right? But the numbers still hold, and every time I've run this simulation, Khmer Heavy CA win, right? Some of that I think might be a function of the fact that, you know, at close range, right, the fact that that's where the firing rate of Thumb Ring is probably helping out the Hindustani Cav Archers more, because you're able to get your arrows on target a bit faster, and at a longer range there's more time elapsing, and it just seems to wash out the effect of the lower base accuracy that the Khmer Heavy Cav Archers are going to have. But this is massive, though, right? Khmer CA have never really been thought of as a high quality unit, I think. And I want to go to the tech tree to kind of look at this, because Khmer are really the only civilization that is going to, I think, be majorly affected by this, right? Khmer, only missing Thumb Ring, you get Parthian Tactics, and you get all your upgrades. Now, when I look at civs in this list, I don't really see any ones that I think are going to be very well affected, right? Ethiopians get Thumb Ring. I'm just kind of looking at some of the civilizations that maybe don't get Thumb Ring, and you know, you'd want to have Parthian Tactics as well, right? And this is, yeah, there's really not a good civ here that misses Thumb Ring, I think, that can use this bonus, because you also need that Parthian Tactics. The only one that I could maybe even think of is Burmese, because you do get Parthian Tactics, but you're missing too much armor, right? So yeah, there's really not another civ in the game that's getting that +6 pierce armor, right? Like the Khmer are going to be getting, that say also are missing out on Thumb Ring, right? So this really is, I think, kind of a bonus that is really only giving the Khmer those great CA. Now, maybe with some other civs, you might think about using them. I don't know, you know. Other civs that don't get Thumb Ring. Maybe Goth heavy CA might be on the table. But you don't get Parthian Tactics, so even a civ like Goths, right, it's going to fall behind, say, civs like Hindustanis, which, you know, should have good cav archers, right? It's kind of the only civ of the Indian subcontinental civs that have access to cav archers, and yet, you know, the Hindustani cav archer has been, I think, one of the most disappointing unit trajectories in the game, right? When this was the OG Indian civilization, you know, the Indians had fully upgraded heavy cav archers, and it was really a mainstay of their army in a lot of ways. You know, the various peoples that the Hindustanis represent in the game, right? Many of them were considered, you know, some of the, you know, the finest, you know, cavalry, and they would also have cavalry archers at that time I guess it would be probably something more approximating like Central Asia, thinking about, say, the Ghaznavid dynasty, the Gurids, that sort of thing. And yeah, and what we see though here, right, is that, you know, Hindustanis, right, when the Indians became Hindustanis, they lost access to Parthian Tactics, and they've had a whole other range of nerfs, you know, since the Hindustanis came into the game, and you know, now this civilization is, you know, has really had something of a rise and fall. I could do a bit longer video on that if you want to listen to my 1001 rant about Hindustani CA, because that would definitely be a part of that. But yeah, the Hindustani cav archer really has fallen, and it has been surpassed, I think, by the Khmer cav archer. So this is important to know, because now you have a unit, you know, Khmer are a civilization that could struggle against cav archers if you're not careful, just because you don't get the best cavalry to really run down CA, because you only get Cavalier, and so, you know, you do have decent skirmishers with Khmer, right? Just, again, missing Thumb Ring. So you can counter CA okay, but now you have a nice gold option, heavy cav archer plus Khmer hussars with the farming. Khmer heavy CA are on the menu, folks. This is going to be a good unit. And anyways, that's the end of the video. I just kind of wanted to show you those two tests. So you know what Khmer are capable of. Definitely a buff for Khmer in this patch, even though I don't really hear people talking about that quite as much. So let's see what happens once we get deeper into the games in this update. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of live testing as well, and I'll see you guys out in the ladder. All right, peace.